Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I love to see gentlemen in the audience. So today we're going to talk a little bit about proven winners. Have you guys heard of proven winners? We know, I love that. Yes. They're very distinctive, aren't they? I mean, they come in their own white pot. Can't be more obvious. Labeled all over. Beautiful plants. Bloom all the time. I thought I'd start off by giving you like a little bit of information about the company and sort of how Greengate's tied together and how I'm so passionate. So passionate about proven winners. In fact, at work, if anyone sort of says proven winners, they just kind of roll their eyes because they know I'm going to launch into some, oh, have you tried this? Oh, this is really good. Oh, this one's the best one. So, yeah, it's amazing. So, of course, the train has to come past. The timing, right? The timing. So, what are you going to do, right? We can't control everything. Just like today's weather, we can't control today's weather any more than that either. So, Proven Winners is a company that started in 1992. They're an American-based company, but luckily all the plants that you see in front of you were grown in Alberta. Yay, Alberta! Right? Because to me that's really, really important. Not only trees and shrubs and perennials and annuals, but really important that what you're planting in your garden is something that's going to be tough for our crazy weather when it's May long weekend and everybody's sitting like this, right, with their coffee. So the thing with proven winners, what makes them so much better, is that all of these plants have been tried and tested and researched, analyzed for a minimum of 3 to 5 years. So there are trial gardens in Michigan, New Hampshire, Florida, California. I know we're not thinking about those warm places today, but imagine. Germany, they've got a huge trial garden in Germany. They've got a huge trial garden in Japan. So it's not just based in sort of one warm tropical area. They do trial everything all over the place, which I like, because that means when we are buying them as shoppers, they're dependable, right? They're going to work. They're not going to go kind of funny on us. So that's a big thing. The other thing I love about proven winners is that they bloom all season long, right? Seriously? The train again? So they bloom continuously. And the only thing you really need to have to make them do this is good soil, good fertilizer. Doesn't matter if it's liquid fertilizer, doesn't matter if it's slow release. I use slow release because I only want to do it every so often and then I don't have to remember. Oh, did I fertilize Wednesday? Was that Thursday? No, Monday. What day was that? So I always use slow release. It's easy. The other thing with blooming all the time, I'm sure quite a few are familiar with alyssum that kind of does this in the center, right? It's like, awesome reaction, thank you. So the idea with proven winners is that they've been bred not to do this, right? Most plants, harken back to high school biology, most plants' job is to flower, produce seed, go yellow, and die, right? Whereas proven winners, they're not bred to do that. Okay, you won't have, here's a comparable plant. This plant will never do this to you because they're bred not to go to seed, which I think is amazing because I don't want this in my garden. I really want this in my garden more than anything else, right? So we're going to tuck this away. That's not what we're after. The other thing I love about proven winners is deadheading, right? Who loves deadheading? Really? It is true, it is therapeutic. And I don't want to stop you. If you are a deadheader, I don't want to stop that. You can easily have your cup of coffee and deadhead your petunia in the morning. I know lots of us do that, right? Kind of pick and pick. If you don't want to do that though, you don't have to. Right? Proven Winners has actually bred so that sticky petunia finger thing that you're always doing this after, You don't have to do that with proven winners at all. They actually bloom on top of the old flowers. So you're not going to have bald spots. It's easier on a big one, right? You're not going to have bald spots in the center, right? It's going to be full of flowers, which is what we want. That's why we plant annuals to begin with, right? Is flower power. Nope, it has no effect. Whereas some of those regular petunias, right? You deadhead and it's very beneficial, cuts them back, gets those growth hormones going. You don't have to do it, is sort of the option. Yeah, great question. Love it, love it. And it's the sticky finger thing, right? I'm not a fan of the sticky fingers. Maybe it's just me. So we've got blooms all the time, no deadheading. I'm already in love with the plant. I think the big thing with proven winners, and certainly with us at Greengate, is we want you to be really successful with your plants. We work really hard for our money, really hard, and especially lately, really, really hard. And I think that proven winners is a really good investment of your money, right? They're going to do what we want them to do. What more could you ask for? Anyway, in my opinion. The other great thing is the plant tag. Like, lots of people don't really use the plant tags. There's a ton of information on these, right? An absolute ton. And the way I like it about proven winners is not only do they have the very attractive picture, which sort of lures you in, but on the back of the tag, they have all that information that you're always wondering about. Should we pass them around? Why don't we? Why don't we? Just because. It's kind of fun. So everybody can kind of see. We'll pass them around.
You have the right kind of magnifying glasses.
That's what I forgot, the magnifying glasses. See, that is the only thing, right? The size of the print. Well, we'll have to, send them an email or something, let them know. We want bigger print, bigger tags. So everything that's on the back of the tag that you're looking for. So quite a few people, I know I've worked at Greengate for a while, right? You see the plant in the pot and you're thinking, is that a trailing one? Is it up? Is it down? Does it go flat? I mean, some of them you can kind of look at and realize, oh yeah, we know what that's going to do. But this one, kind of confusing. But on the back of the tag, it tells you whether it's trailing, whether it's mounding, because I know lots of people are looking for trailing plants, right? It's so hard in a garden center to find trailing plants. That's because they've changed the name, right? Every plant tag that says mounded on it, that's essentially a trailing kind of plant. Mounded just means it's going to come up in the center and then fall over, right? Why would we want that? What's the story with that? Some of them, like verbena, I'm sure gardeners are all familiar with verbena, right? And we love verbena because it trails and does that kind of floppy behavior. Yeah, I know, it's hard to find trailing plants. A lot of these plants are kind of designed to put 2 or 3 of them together in the same pot. So one of them's a trailer, one of them isn't. Just read the back of the tag. Total hints, right? You've also got height, spacing, uses. Has anybody ever been on Proven Winners' website before? I highly recommend it if you haven't been there. Provenwinners.com. Highly, highly recommend going there. They've got every single plant they sell with little mini biographies about them all. So color, all the details. They've got reviews, like customer reviews, planting reviews. They've got pictures. They've got combinations, right? Maybe you really fall in love with their new lantana and think, oh, that's nice, but I really want to put something else with it. One plant in a pot, that's kind of boring. It's on the website. Has everything on there. And if you're not a fan of the website, or not a fan of computers, I know my mother is one of them, it's okay. Sorry, Mom. She's not here, it's okay. We have a book up at the desk that gives you all kinds of ideas about what you can plant them together, put them together, how they fit together. Let me find one that's new and exciting, right?
Do they have that on the website?
They certainly do, yeah. So each, like I said, if you're in the store, each of the annuals has their own little history page. And at the very bottom, tells you what you can plant with them. So if you're doing this particular kind of geranium, it goes with Super Bells, Diamond Frost, Super Tunia, Super Bina. Because sometimes that's the hard thing, right? You like one plant and it's like, oh, what goes with this? It's pretty, but you know, what could I put together with it? I'm sorry? You can go on their website and actually get it from them, absolutely. Yep, American dollars. So this is kind of one option for research. Like I said, we've got it at the greenhouse desk over there. Anybody get this little book? Have you guys ever seen? See, lovers of proven winners, right? We're all on the mailing list. This little gardener idea book is a free book. Same thing, I'll pass it around so you guys can take a look at it. It's a free book that's available. All you need to do is give them your information on their website and they will send it out in the mail every year. And it's got all their new stuff in it. I don't know, in my opinion, Proven Winners is the best at putting different ideas together. Like I always flip through their stuff and think, yes, I can do that. I can plant that, it doesn't matter. Right? So it's another resource. A third resource that again we've got at the store is inspiring container ideas. I'll hold it up so you guys can see. So here's my other thing, right? Maybe you're doing a color combination with purple. So all of the books are organized by color, and there's a constant list, like a little recipe guide. So you get this one, tells you how many plants you need, which ones go together, and there's like copious numbers of them. Purple, purple, purple. Moving into pink. So sometimes you just need that little spark of inspiration to kind of get you going, right? Again, always available at the desk. The other option, I know there's so many options with Proven Winners, why I love them, is if you put together a combination and you've got a group of plants that you really, really like. I don't know if any of you are familiar with our new potting bench, but you are more than welcome to choose your plants, choose your containers. We will either pot it up for you, or you're more than welcome to get your hands dirty and use our potting bench. So if you don't like the mixes that we've got, you don't like the mixes put together, you know, it's kind of like design your own pizza, same idea, design your own planter. More than welcome to come and use our potting bench. It'll be the new feature in the greenhouse all year round. So I'm really excited about that. And like I said, we can help, right? If you're not too sure, we can help. If you're after, no, I can do it myself, have at her, as they say, right? Another little thing before I launch into plants is that Greengate is one of those Proven Winner certified garden centers. So that means that the annual staff, myself included, and my year-round staff, my staff that comes back every year, we've all taken their online course. So we're considered a certified garden center by Proven Winners company. So we do know what we're talking about. We're not just saying, yes, that's pretty. Yes, I like that. I mean, when we're giving you information, please come and try to test our knowledge. Right? It's good review. That's where we learn about the new stuff, and we do that annually. We renew our certifications. So there aren't too many garden centers in Calgary that are certified either. So, but we think it's important that you guys get the most important information and the correct information, right? So, any questions before? Yeah. I could do that right now if you like. Do you have a preference? What kind of container you like to? Oh, the question was whether I was going to talk about different types of containers, plastic versus cedar versus, yeah.
I have 4 deck ones, and they sit on the deck, and they are plastic
Right.
to start with. Are they good?
Yeah, plastic is, I like plastic because it's very lightweight. It's easy to move. It doesn't, doesn't weigh down anything. I grow in everything. And the plants don't really mind any kind of container. Ceramic, plastic, wooden.
So I found when it rained too much last year,
Right.
I hadn't had that problem issue too much.
Yeah.
Those containers they're really full, and I have to take and dump them.
Oh, is there drainage in the bottom?
There's drainage at the bottom.
Yeah.
If I don't take and dump it, I find that the water's so soggy.
So he was mentioning that the containers get really sodden when it rains and it's hard. He's had to dump his containers just because of last year when we had all that rain. And a way to combat that is maybe looking at your potting soil that's in there. Like most annuals don't need a very rich kind of potting soil. If you're going to be adding fertilizer to it, which I highly recommend,
Well, I have
it doesn't.
clay soil, so with my soil, I put some compost with that.
Okay.
Wise to put half compost, or how much?
Yeah, I would do half and half. I probably wouldn't use garden soil though. I'd get something on the bag that says potting mix as opposed to using garden soil because I find, I don't know about the soil in your yards, but my soil is nothing to write home about. Right? It's heavy, it's dense, it doesn't do what I want it to do. Yeah, I really like potting mixes. I mean, they're designed specifically for containers, so I mean, that's what we want.
No, I do have some sort of big clay ones. I guess they're clay. They have a hole in the bottom,
Right.
and I put drains in them.
Clay is very heavy. It is, and I have clay pots and I don't move them, so wherever. Hi. Hi. Mhm. Right. Yeah, I mean, you could put saucers under them, right? As sort of they're square. That's okay too, because we have a solution for that. We have something called pot toes, like pot, P-O-T, pot toes, and they act like little lifts. So they give that little air space between the bottom of your pot and your deck, your patio, your...
You're worried about
Yeah.
the water?
Yeah, but if there's a space between the bottom of your pot and the deck, it'll dry out better as opposed to it being flush with the wood or flush with the material. Yeah.
And those big pots, I'm sure they're about 6 inches, maybe 7 inches. How much rock or other things do I put on the bottom before I actually put dirt?
That's a good question. So he was mentioning about, we'll just use this. This is a bad thing to pot in, but as an example, because it doesn't have drainage in it. So you want your pot to have some form of drainage because you don't want to create a little swimming pool of plants, right? Nobody likes that, plants included. If you're filling up, annuals don't need lots of space. If you were going to grow carrots or something with a big taproot or a tree or a shrub or add those to your containers, you would want more depth. But if you were just going to use annuals, you probably only need 12, 18 inches of dirt, in all honesty. So I would fill this bottom part with packing peanuts because I don't want to add extra weight. I'm not a big fan. There's nothing wrong with rocks. It's just, if I have to move that container, I don't want to load them down with rocks. Yeah, and they're light. And these are not biodegradable, right? So you want to check that too. The ones that we sell don't dissolve into nothing, but some of the ones, like if you get something shipped and they're biodegradable packing peanuts, they'll just melt. So I would run it under the tap, make sure it doesn't dissolve on you. Yeah, do a little test. You'll know instantaneously if it's cornstarch or not. So I usually take my pot, fill it halfway. Could be anything. Could be my leftover plastic pots, right? I tuck them in the bottom. Just something to take up volume. and then put my really good dirt on top. And I've changed that out. So every year I take half of last year's stuff out and replace it with half brand new stuff, is my thing. Of course, there's nothing wrong. You want to empty all your pots every year and put in fresh soil every year. You know, I have no problem with that either, but I just do half and half. A little bit extra nutrition. Did that answer your question? Yeah, oh, you're very welcome. No problem. That's why we're here. Any other questions before I brag about proven winners?
So this is the glass pot? The empty
Yeah,
one?
I turn mine, I turn mine upside down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pick up volume.
It just takes up volume, right? Essentially, that's what you're doing with packing peanuts.
Peanuts. And then the soil. Oh.
I know. Recycle, right? Why throw it away? Because pots that are recyclable, that's fine, but not enough companies are doing recyclable pots. So you might as well use them yourself instead of them collect in the garage. My husband's not a big fan of the pot collection in the garage. So, yeah. No, well, you know, that would be your choice. I don't know if I want to sit under the patio with the dead skunk in the planter, but to each their own. Alrighty, so the excitement of proven winners. What I love about them, as you can tell, totally passionate, as we say, about them. I thought I'd point out a couple of my favorites and lots of the new ones. Because if you're a follower of the Proven Winner website, you know there's like hundreds every year they introduce. Kind of a ridiculous number. And of course that harkens back to all their trial gardens too, right? So they've got lots of opportunity to trial. So I've organized them by color, because I really think lots of people shop by color. Like when I'm designing my annual planters, I have some kind of color scheme in mind. I'm thinking I want an orange pot at the front door, I want a couple of pink ones at the back. I've got a shady one, that's always a nightmare. I'm trying to figure out what can go in my shady pot. So I kind of have a general idea about what I'm going to do with color. I have a better one of those. So I'm going to start, and I'll pass them around so you guys can all look, because I know with me doing this, that means absolutely nothing, right? So, first one is the new Nemesia. So more of a sun plant, but can take certainly a little bit of shade as well. This one's called Blood Orange. I probably pulled the tag out of it. It's brand new this year. So it's kind of an amazing plant because it goes from red to yellow to orange. There's little pinky tones. There's a dark center to it. So as your plant evolves and gets bigger, the colors are going to continuously change on you. I have to say, you should know ahead of time, I'm a total sucker for things that are different and variegated and changing. Because I like looking at something new, right? Kind of my thing. I think Nemesia's really, really pretty. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. It doesn't. Nope. Yeah, and that's the thing, just to sort of reiterate her question, she was talking about Nemesia, sometimes peters out on her. I've had that happen with Diacia too. Like it's sort of that similar little orchid-y flower, and it does kind of get tired. With Proven Winners, I've found mine don't get tired the same way. If you see that the flower number is coming down a little bit, just boost a little bit of bloom fertilizer. So out of those 3 numbers on a fertilizer container, the middle one is your bloom one. So if it doesn't say bloom on the container, you want that middle number to be higher. That'll give it, a little extra start. The other one I'm kind of in love with in our orange happy family is Calibrachoa. We call it Calibrachoa. You may be more familiar with it as Million Bells. Right. It's like, oh yeah, that one, yeah. Don't give me that Latin. Who knows that word? Yeah. So Million Bells to me is amazing because again, there's no deadheading involved. So even if you were going to buy some regular, not Proven Winner Million Bell, you still don't have to remove all the dead flowers. Not that you can't, ladies and gentlemen, as you're having your coffee. Again, I'm not going to interfere with the deadheading. The really interesting thing is that that particular Million Bells is a double. So if you're a fan of double flowers, you can only get proven winner double million bells in Canada. It's actually illegal for proven winners to sell them in the States. Random trivia.
Why is it one?
It's a patent issue.
Oh.
It's all about plant patents are a very high conversational topic in the States especially. So it's sort of a yellowy orange. They are working though on pinks and purples in the future. Yeah, the next couple of years or so. Hopefully. Hopefully. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's stunning. I'm not a huge fan usually of double, but I really like that double one. It's so pretty. Another thing, thank you so much. Another thing with changing colors, this is one of their new petunias. It's called Honey. Who doesn't love a honey? Sort of orangey, yellowy, yeah, multiple colors, changing all the time. I love that, as you can tell.
So is Supertunia their name for petunias? Or
Yeah.
the type of petunia?
So the thing with Supertunias, that's a very good point. They've got kind of their own branding idea. So instead of calling it a petunia as a marketing thing, they call it a Supertunia. Instead of verbena, they call it Superbena. Instead of million bells, it's super bells. So it's just kind of like a marketing thing. It's their own name so that they can register that plant under their own category. Yeah.
So with this one here, would that multiply out?
Which one are we looking at? Yeah, absolutely. It's one of their bigger petunias for sure, with that nice yellowy orangey color to it.
So would you still plant them 8 inches apart, 6 inches apart?
Yeah, I'd probably do 8 to 10 inches apart. And again, you can always find that planting spacing information on the back of the plant tag as well. Yeah. Yep. They do. And if those dead flowers kind of irritate you, you can kind of ruffle your hands through them. You know, like you do with the hair in the morning where you do this and they'll fall off really easily. Yeah. For example. Okay. You know, I'm a big fan of our Nurseryland fertilizer. That's probably my biggest go-to fertilizer. And we're actually starting today, we've got a promotion on it. So it'll be 15% off all of our Nurseryland fertilizers. Yeah, I love them. They're easy. Put it in and forget about it. Yeah. The go-to one. There's one called Power Bloom, which is relatively new. We've just sort of recently got our hands on some. I've just started using it at home. I'm really impressed. Power Bloom is what it's called. It's just kind of set up for, that, like I said, those 3 numbers. That middle number is much larger, so that really, really helps give them that extra push of food. Right? It's just like us. When it's a cold day, we want to eat more. It's the same kind of thing.
The middle number is phosphorus.
NPK, yeah. I know. It's like chemistry class and biology class rolled up into one. So the next little orangey yellowy one, it's cold. So the flowers looked amazing yesterday. You'll just have to, you know, go with that. Oh, here's the orangey one. So maybe I'll tuck this in here so you can kind of get an idea of what the flowers will look like. They obviously open on warm, hot days. It's a kind of portulaca. So if you're familiar with portulaca, they've got their own series, brand new this year, just released. Portulaca. Yep. You're probably familiar with the little tinier leaves, right? Kind of little thread-like leaves. Hot and dry. You know, I've got a south-facing backyard, so I really like plants that I can ignore, and that's one for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Containers, ground, doesn't matter. There's orange and yellow. They've also got fuchsia and red. Yeah. We haven't got them in yet, but coming. I'm sensing a pick theme that you're working on. Oh, there's not, hey, we all do themes, absolutely. All right, orangey yellow. Let's go into pink, speaking of pink. And lantana's right in the front. Are you guys familiar with lantana? Yeah, hot and dry again, right? And if you rub the leaves, because I'm all about tactile, The leaves have a really nice fragrance to them. I know lots of customers I talk to, they're like, what happened to fragrance? Right? They've done all this breeding with flowers. They've got all these pretty colors, multiple pretty colors, but what happened to the smelly part that we all love? And unfortunately, sometimes the fragrance just gets lost in the breeding part. But lantanas are great. I mean, the leaves are kind of rough, but they are very fragrant. Thank you so much for... Oh, yeah. Yes. It's really good in hot and dry. Not so great on a day like today, but you know, when we get into summer and we've been having those longer, hot, dry summers, loves it. Just as an annual, yeah. Hi.
Would you bring the plant in?
Sure you could, yep, absolutely. You can always bring annuals in, you just have to be really careful about washing them off and not bringing in little friends from their outdoor spa, right? But no, you can certainly do that, absolutely. Absolutely. And I like the multiple colors on their pinkberry one. It's so neat. And there's a red version to that. There's sort of a citrusy version with oranges and yellows, and there's a version that's got a little bit more on the red side to it. So, yeah, I love the leaves. Well, it does, yeah, kind of half and half. The flowers are very upright, but the plant kind of spreads out a bit. What else can we do? Might as well do the big guy. You gotta love petunias and supertunias. Fine.
Pansies somewhere there?
You know what? Proven Winners does have pansies. We just don't have any in stock at the moment. They sold out so fast. I was hoping to talk about them. Pansies are amazing, aren't they? Especially on days like today. Proven Winner pansies, no. Regular pansies, yes. Yeah. There's supertunia, again with the multiple color idea. So we've got yellow, bright yellow in the center, and then that green edge, which I find kind of fascinating. Because people will first, when you look at it, you just see pink, but then as your eye adjusts, you get that different appearance to it. And I think at night, those are going to be amazing, because with that lighter center, you're really going to see the center of the flower as opposed to the dark edge. So, yeah, I think it's kind of cool. So,
I have one thing to ask you. Do any of these ones actually...
yeah, absolutely. Yep, they'll come up and then they'll fall over. Yep, definitely. We'll get some of the new genetics in the grow. So the next one we've got is a pink stripe. There's also a bluey purple stripe. And this is a brand new look for petunias this year in Proven Winners. So there are lots of different subfamilies to petunias or supertunias. They've got bigger ones, they've got smaller ones, they've got mini ones. If you've grown supertunias before, you're probably familiar with like bubblegum. We had it in our landscape a couple of years ago. It's got huge, giant pink flowers on it. It stretches about 5 feet wide. So that's their Vista series. That's their biggest series. The one that's got the yellow center and the pink edge to it is kind of middle of the road, not so crazy. The one that's coming around now is their Charm series. So the Charm series, it's kind of like a cross between a supertunia and a million bell as far as size of flowers, but blooms like crazy, right? So you get a little smaller flower, but you get the vigorous plant of a regular supertunia, which I think is awesome. I really want that in my containers. Hi. The widest one is the Vista series, so there's bubblegum, there's fuchsia, there's a raspberry blast in that particular series. It'll say it, yeah. It'll say Vista right under, yeah.
So is that considered a supertunia, or it's called?
They're all supertunias. So it's a supertunia Vista, yeah. Actually, I can see them from here. They're just on the corner. Yeah, they're stunning. Yeah, I planted one, a supertunia bubblegum in my yard last year. It was 6 feet wide, like just. Yeah, I know, and they're amazing. Yeah. Really great value. Great value. Even those charm series, like that little star-shaped one, I put one in a 10-inch pot. It came up over the pot and down the sides of it and on the deck. Like in Calgary. I didn't sort of ship it to Florida or California. Like in my backyard, it actually came up and over. So, and lots of flowers, right? When you look at that plant, you're not seeing a lot of green leaves. You're seeing flowers, which is, again, what I want to see in my backyard is lots of flowers. Yep, that's the last, that little charm one, yep. Full sun, it'll do better in full sun, but I've got one in morning sun and it does just as fine, yeah. Just as good. I'm sure someone's got that trademarked. The super duper tune, yeah. Another million bells. Well, we're kind of on a star theme. So this is their new one called Holy Moly. It's actually a sport of cherry star, if you're familiar with that one, which was a pink one with a yellow center to it. So this one's kind of similar, but I really like the variegation to it. Every time I look at the plant, it does something different. When you see them in a large flat, they all look a little bit different. So to me, that's really interesting to look at. I get bored easily, I guess. Can't stop moving, and I get bored easily. This guy. It's the Supertunia Fiesta, because I'm such a fan. So Garden Rose is the one that we've just started. Garden Rose is the very first ever million bell, super bell, calibrachoa that you can plant in the garden. Usually, people don't like million bells because when you put them in the garden, they don't do what you want them to do. They're a little bit pH sensitive. Sometimes they go yellow on you if they're not getting enough fertilizer. Sometimes they drop all their leaves if they're not getting enough fertilizer. This one is not supposed to do that whatsoever. So to give you a little background information, in their test garden in Michigan, what they do is they plant all the plants, take care of them until they get their root system going, and then they turn off the water and they totally ignore them. So that particular Garden Rose Super Bell, they left it for 3 months, no water, no food, no babysitting, and they came back and it was full of flowers. So I'm convinced that's a good one. You know, because if it'll do that. It's called Garden Rose. Yeah, Garden Rose, brand new. Only one color, yeah. I know, pink is not my go-to, but if it'll go in the landscape, I'm really kind of fascinated. So I've got a few sitting on my kitchen table waiting for planting time. So I can see what it does. Hi. Depending on what kind of fertilizer you're using, like I said, I'm a fan of that sort of slow release fertilizer. So I just take it and I sprinkle it on top of my pots or sprinkle it around the plant. And I do bi-weekly. Yeah. If something's in a pot, it's a little bit different because pot culture, you've got such a smaller space, right? The roots in the landscape can pull nutrients from surrounding areas. But in a pot, they're really limited by where they get their nutrition from. So in a pot, I would fertilize more often. Like every second or third time I water, I would fertilize. Which is a lot, right? I thought everyone's eyes just went, holy cow. I mean, annuals are pretty hungry plants. You want to make sure, like you want the flowers. That's probably why we're growing them, because it's hard. You usually have toxicity symptoms, like the leaves might go kind of funny on you. They'll curl up, they'll change color. Yeah, if you're not sure, you're more than welcome to bring some leaves in a Ziploc bag. We'll take a peek for you. No problem. Right. 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 Mm-hmm. Sure. So the question was is that when you buy hanging baskets, no matter the size, and you pop them out of that hanging basket, the root system is really dense, right? And so she was mentioning that with that root system, eventually it's almost like it's killing itself off, right? It's used up all the nutrients. It gets full of, matted roots, essentially. And that happens a lot with pots. Because again, the roots have nowhere to go, right? So if I was going to recommend something to make that a little bit better, you could either, before you plant them the first time, take some of those bottom roots off. I'm vicious with things like that. People are like, not the roots! It's scary, I don't want to do it! Not the roots! So I've got my root system like so, right? And what I would do is I would just, it's okay, I'll sweep it later. I would take like the bottom part off, and it's okay that this is a little on the dry side because I'm going to water it in my container anyway. So I take a little bit of the bottom root off, make my hole, plant it in, water it thoroughly so that all the air bubbles settle themselves out. Yeah, the other option is if you don't want to do that and take the root, you're afraid, what if I take too much? What if I'm not taking enough? I can't remember, should I take that off? Just giving them an extra dose of fertilizer would help that too. I know, especially as our falls get longer, right? Even 5 years ago in Calgary, you could plant a container and you do what you've always done with the fertilizer and the watering and it would be completely fine. But now fall is going so much longer and you're thinking, oh, now what? Come on, bloom, right? The in-laws are coming. There's a big barbecue. The planters it doesn't look good anymore. Yeah, it's okay to dope annuals. They like that. Illegal in sports, okay with annuals. Hi. That's why I said you've got kind of two options, right? If you don't want to take apart the planter or you're afraid you're going to, like the petunia hangers, you're afraid you're going to break all those branches doing that. Keep fertilizing. And there's certainly nothing wrong with doing like a slow release fertilizer and then a liquid fertilizer, like using them in combination. There's no problem with that either. Just how many bottles do you want to have in the garage, that's all.
Does it matter if you do different fertilizers, like one versus lead?
No. Fertilizer is that other sort of issue, right? Because that's confusing because you've got different numbers and every company has different numbers and you read the gardening magazine and it says no, this one. You're like, I can't find this one at the garden center. Nobody sells this one. You can always ask us. That's why we're here. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
With the fruit winners, did you use the plant start fertilizer?
Absolutely, yeah. No problem using plant starter or transplanter or whatever the package says. Nope. No problem with that at all.
But if you didn't, that would be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an easy, no fuss kind of girl. No problem. They're very flexible. Very, very flexible. Are we still into it, girls and boys? More introductions. Because I love looking at plants. So we talked a little bit about verbena before. Verbena superbena is another one of those hot and dry. Loves it hot and dry. And usually verbena, anytime that I've bought it and it's not proven winners, I've always had to deadhead it. And I put verbena in my hanging baskets on my fence behind 6-foot shrubs. So it's a pain in the neck to get back there. So once I found proven winner superbena, that's the only one I plant. I don't have to deadhead or get myself scratched from my shrubs either. The other little blue guy is something, again, back to double flowers. Is everybody kind of familiar with Bacopa? Bacopa, Sutera, the plant with many, many names. It's good plant, bad plant, mixed. I'm kind of not a big fan. I haven't had amazing success with it, but I'm very curious about this blue double, tiny bubbles it's called. See, and that's my thing with Bacopa, is that anytime I've ever planted it, it always goes, the flowers are on the edge, and then the stems are there full of brown, dead leaves and flowers, and it's frustrating. So I can't attest to the wonderment of that one until I've tried it. So next year, when we all come back and compare notes of what we've tried and how it's worked, yeah, I'm very interested to see if that will do the same thing. Because I love the cute little blue flowers. I love how it kind of stands up. And I know lots of people are huge fans of Bacopa. That's the only thing they plant. And I'm like, really? You have a different yard than I do, because I'm not familiar with it. Doesn't like me, doesn't like my yard. Another plant I'm sure we're all familiar with, lobelia. Oh, lobelia. Proven winter lobelia flowers are so much larger than what you traditionally think of lobelia. They also not only come in this the new ultraviolet color, but they come in a dark blue, they come in like a sky blue. And surprisingly enough, proven winter lobelia is very heat tolerant. So you can actually put it in, my deck is southwest facing. I put lobelia in the southwest facing pot and this does perfectly fine. I know, incredible, right? Because usually lobelia dies when I shelter it and baby it and talk to it, and it usually does that little flop thing, stops blooming, and then I'm mad. This one does not. So yeah, I love it. They are huge, aren't they? Just huge for lobelia.
And that's good for sun.
Yep, full sun, part sun. Very flexible. And like I said, lots of different colors with that one too. There's a white, there's that sky blue, there's a dark, dark blue. That's sometimes really hard to find in lobelia, right? It's hard to find a blue flower that looks blue, that isn't some pinky, mauvey, violety, lavender thing. No, but it's awesome. I love that.
Do you have the burgundy one?
Not yet. So there's
Oh, you said yet?
yet. There should be some coming. I just don't know exactly when.
Yeah, I like there's a blue.
Mm-hmm.
I was just at, where is it, Home Depot? One of those.
Yep, yep.
They had the pink one, but
Right.
I saw online, John was talking about at the garden show
Mhm.
at
Spruce Meadows.
Spruce Meadows.
Yep, yep.
Mentioning the burgundy one.
Mm.
I looked it up and I'm like, oh, that's what I need.
That's just like John. Mention
Yeah.
something and then.
Yeah.
So the newest sort of Picasso series. So we're back to petunias. You can tell that I'm a fan of supertunias. There's a Picasso series that 3 or 4 years ago they came out with like Picasso, Pretty in Pink, and then there was a mini Pretty in Pink one. And I tried both of those and I wasn't really happy with them. They got kind of leggy. They didn't do that well in my yard. So I wasn't impressed. Last year, this is sort of the first year we've had this blue one. So there's a blue one now, and then there's a dark burgundy, like maroony burgundy color. That's very pretty with that green edge to it. So it's the latest in the family. According to the website, again, I haven't put this in my yard yet, next year's meeting, it's supposed to be amazing. It's not supposed to go lose all of its leaves like the other one does. It's not supposed to go as gangly. Like that's my thing with petunias. Some of those petunias kind of flop all over. And I don't know, I expect better.
I knew someone that put that guy in a pot,
Yep.
like a big one right by her garage.
Right.
And it cascaded beautifully, filled. It looked like a net of petunias.
Great.
And it just went all the way down to the bottom. It was just so
Awesome.
So
There we go. So we have a recommendation.
I don't know how many she put in, but it was just,
And that was a Calgary
it was,
connection?
yeah.
Okay. I always like to check, you know.
Yeah, she was in Cranston.
Oh,
so
nice.
just close by.
So there's hope.
Yes.
There's hope for us. I'm also really excited about this one. I don't know, I'm kind of a blue-yellow person, right? Another star-shaped Calibrachoa. I don't know, they're lovely. I like things that are low maintenance that can go in a hanging basket or can be mixed with others. There's just so much you can do with it. Put it in the garden, fill in those spots where nothing else grows. I mean, what more could we ask for? All right, table's getting down, gotta love it. Another one with sort of an interesting center as we move into white, right? We've got the white, yellowy, red color, Frostfire. This one came out last year. We only had a few flats of it, so if you didn't have a chance to try it last year, I highly recommend it. The advantage with white is that in the evening when you're having those drinks on the deck or barbecues, white really pops. You know, even if you don't have a lot of supplemental lighting, it's a great thing to brighten up any location, really. And it's a little interesting to look at instead of just plain white. Not that there's anything wrong with plain white, because here are a couple other options. This one. This is, if you've listened to John talk, this is one of John's favorite plants. He loves euphorbia, right? So poinsettia family, just random trivia once again.
How do you spell that?
Euphorbia, E-U-P-H-O-R-B-I-A.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. This is the double one. Again, we're back into doubles because I want something that has a presence in the garden. The original one they came out with is a single flower, which is also very lovely. But I think I want more color than that. And it takes really hot, dry, like a portulaca, hot, dry, minimal water, bad soil. Good. It's more of sort of an upright as opposed to a cascading plant. I'm sorry? It's Nemesia, that one. Yeah, connect. They're so pretty. Big, big flowers. Wait, the last one? That one's Diamond Frost. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of shedding, not too badly. So, we're getting down. You guys are awesome. Letting me rattle on about proven winners. So I thought, what's that? Yeah, absolutely. Harrington's buying, it's okay. So I thought I'd do a couple of just foliage ones. So that's kind of the flower version. Sweet potato vine, right?
Oh, this potato one.
It is potato vine, yeah.
I love it.
So many colors, so many shapes. So, yeah. So many options. It trails. It can go in a planter. It can go in a hanging basket. It could go in the garden. Love it. Love it, love it. And it can. That one is the new one, so that Sweetheart Little Lime doesn't get as big as the ones you may have tried before. It really plays well with others in a container. Doesn't get too wild child like Marguerite did, or, yeah, there's a lacy one, emerald lace, yeah. It'll do better with some sun. Yep. I haven't had it perform wonderfully in a shady location. Yeah, they kind of sat there in the shade. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. 2 new coleuses, because I think they're just amazing. So we've got Apple Brandy and Velveteen are the 2 new ones. I mean, they're always coming out with new coleus. Right? Always. They are, yep, absolutely. And that's a good question because coleus has the reputation of sort of you plant it outside and then the next day it's not there anymore because it's died, right? They're usually quite sensitive to cold, so coleus would probably be one of those plants where I wouldn't put it out in my garden until June, just because I'd be a little bit suspicious of it collapsing on me. I mean, these are pretty tough. And in the fall, they'll be totally fine, right? Like if we get cool nights in the fall, after they've acclimatized to our crazy weather, they'll be fine in the fall. But when you first put them out in the spring, they're so sensitive. But I think totally worth it, right? I love variegated leaves. Variegated leaves are stunning. You know what? Proven winners coleus could go in either one. So you could put it in like hot southwest, like I've had my coleus in the southwest, no problem. Or put them in the shade. They're very, very tolerant of all those. About that, yeah. Yeah, hi. That's okay, I love it.
This year I put
Yeah,
So I was actually here on Tuesday for the senior special.
right.
Discount, and I bought like a flat of potato buns.
Right.
So my idea is to put that with some herbs, and I bought that cascade flower.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Nice.
Will do well with about 6 hours of sun.
Should be fine with 6. Yep, 6 to 8 would.
Drainage-wise, what should I be looking at for water? Keep it moisturized.
I would go maybe a little bit on the drier side as opposed to too wet. They don't seem to perform as well in really wet.
What's that do?
The potato vine, yeah.
And you know, you always have to have a plan B.
Always. In Calgary, always.
Yesterday morning, I left them outside because it wasn't supposed to rain.
Right.
Chili, they actually get all shriveled up.
Did they?
I was devastated because that's like $60 worth of potato vine.
Right.
They brought it inside to revive
And they.
themselves.
Thank you.
In the meantime, I was panicking. I ran to the grocery store
Right.
and I bought about 3 bags of sweet potatoes.
Mhm.
So I'm going to try to do the sweet version.
Oh. I was just going to, I want to know, if you get to plan B, I want to know how that works out. Because I.
In my front living room right
Mhm.
now, and my husband is what are you doing? I'm going to plan B.
No.
But the potato vine is gorgeous.
It is.
In Okanagan,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. So it should do well here.
It should do really well here. Yeah, I've got a girlfriend that's the only thing she buys. She just skips flowers and goes straight to different kinds of potato vine. Yeah, I'll do some shade ones because I think it's so hard to find shade plants that work well, do well. I know. So impatience. Yeah, like total shade. Total shade. So the first one, we've got a begonia that will actually do really well in shade or sun, you know, depending on where you've got it. In sun, that one will grow like huge, 2 feet by 2 feet in the sun, or be really well behaved in a shade garden too. So I love the flexibility because, you know, the sun moves and you want to be able to, you don't want to be running around moving your pots everywhere, right? Well, I don't. I shouldn't speak for everybody. Back to deadheading. It comes in so many colors. So Rockapulco is the name of their impatiens, and you're probably, if you've gardened for a while, you're kind of familiar with that Walleriana, that basic impatient that does so well but is now becoming more and more susceptible to downy mildew. There's a disease that's kind of spreading across with impatiens. So this impatient doesn't fall under that category. It's not susceptible to that downy mildew, not in the least. And the flowers are huge. Like for an impatient, it's usually tiny, like the size of your thumbnail, right? Tiny little flowers. But that particular, I mean, the flowers are stunning. That's their new color wisteria. So it's sort of a blue one. There's pink, there's red, there's orange, there's white. All kind of colors to them. So I love them. Yeah, really stable. Don't break. Yeah, really, really stable. Oh, she's putting it in a hanging basket with her sweet potato vine. She's doing a little.
Going to the store to purchase potatoes and put them in, put the toothpicks in, and then let it sit in hot water. But the thing, I don't know if she's still there.
Yep, she is.
I was, lady with the sweet potato.
We have sweet potato lady now. We've got.
Yes, hi, potato lady. Hi, they were just talking about what your plan B was for
My
your
plan
sweet
B
potatoes.
is because since I'm retired, I don't have an income. So I'm going to use potatoes as my plan B, right? Plan A was I bought all this sweet petunia, but I'm like, I can't spend another so much bucks. So my
Yeah.
plan B is in 2 weeks, all these sweet potatoes should start sprouting, and I'm going to plant those in place of these if weather
It should
Ron
work.
actually mentioned that last week in
Should work.
his seminar. He said you can try that, but the potatoes from the grocery stores aren't disease free. So there could be a chance that it could bring in a disease into your garden. So just watch
that'd be
out for.
fine.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'd be fine. But that's what he mentioned is that the ones that you buy here, those
Seed
potato
potatoes,
seeds, they're
yeah.
guaranteed no disease. So that's the only thing.
Oh,
he said.
well, I just was in a crisis mode.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
I can tell you, they all bounced back after being out in the cold. And, you know, I brought them in now.
Yep.
So they look healthy.
Perfect.
I bought them, but I'm just going to try the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. course. That would be good. We'll do one more shade one. We don't have it in a big pot yet. Broalia, no, it doesn't. I'm sure we could find something similar though. So Broalia is a total shade, another one of those amazing kind of total shade plants. I've got the white one here. We've also get a blue one in. They're just a little bit later in arriving at the garden center. So this week was the first week I've seen it, and it's great because it flowers like crazy in the shade. Nah, you kind of need to babysit. It's kind of like coleus. You got to babysit it a little bit before it goes out. Yeah, yeah. I would. Well, we haven't even got it in yet, so you know your odds are good. That, like I said, that's the first I've seen a Broalia, and that's just in our little 2-inch pot. So there should be more coming in bigger pots. Thanks for coming, you guys. It's just been great. I really appreciate everybody's questions. Don't be shy about asking any of us, right? That's why we're here. And thank you. Proven winners.